Hello everybody and welcome to this new series in which I will show examples of matches that I've been booking on TEW9. For those who don't know what TEW is, it is a booking simulator where you can book basically anything you want in wrestling history. There is mods out there you can book at any time in history. Obviously the default is with the Ryland universe. You can do any universe you want, even fictional universes, but I am doing the Attitude Era, and I began in January 1998. Now, I only just got the idea to turn this into a video series as I've just finished Wrestlemania 15, hence why we are starting with that. But in doing so, we've got to look back and see how we got here and what I've done differently in my 1998 that I booked in TW9, because I'm going with the idea of this being sort of a director's cut, a 2.0 of the Attitude Era, even though my avatar is that of Vince Russo, bro. I am going back and smoothing out the undercard. The upper card has been largely the same. The undercard is what needed work. Let's go back and see how I changed things in 98 to just make what was one of the most important iconic years for the World Wrestling Federation / WWE and make it even better. So as I said, in this save, I am playing as Vince Russo, and for the most part, I've kept 1998 pretty close to what actually happened. Austin is still Austin, Undertaker is still Undertaker, The Nation happens, DX happens, The Corporation happens, the big stories are largely the same. But I'm also playing this with the benefit of something amazing, hindsight. And that means I've been trying to fix one of the biggest problems with the Attitude Era, and that is the undercard, at least this era of the Attitude Era in 1998. One of the first things I wanted to fix was Owen Hart, because let's be honest, 1998 did Owen absolutely no favours. In my version, he beats Triple H at WrestleMania for the European Championship, thus establishing him as a star, and it doesn't hurt Triple H for the loss. Then he goes on to have the Nation storyline, just like in reality, and eventually, though, his contract expires, and WCW win in the bidding war. So Owen leaves the WWF and joins the rest of his family in WCW. Obviously, that's a massive loss for my roster, but there's a pretty enormous silver lining to that particular change. Owen gets to go home. And in this universe, by losing him to WCW, I've accidentally saved his life. It's one of those weird things by doing an alternate history where sometimes the best booking decision isn't necessarily the one that gives you the best wrestling roster. Sometimes it's that little change that has a much bigger impact on wrestling history. Meanwhile, WCW are keeping pace. They are still a massive threat, but they're also making the exact same mistakes you'd expect WCW to make, especially an AI booked WCW in TEW9, this booking simulator. They're relying far too heavily on current popularity, on the likes of Hogan and Randy Savage mostly, while completely failing to capitalise on this young guy they've got named Goldberg, who is basically becoming a monster. He's getting pushed to a point, but he's rarely appearing in the main event picture, and they're not making him the guy. And I've got the feeling that's going to hurt them, especially when my version of the WWF takes over their version of WCW, and they lose the Radicals, Jericho, and as they just did the Big Show to me. Back in my WWF, one of the biggest changes was Kane. Instead of dropping the WWF Championship as quickly as he did historically, I kept the belt on him all the way through July instead of having it be a 24-hour title reign. He finally lost the belt back to Stone Cold at Fully Loaded, the pay-per-view. And rather than doing the Undertaker, Austin, Kane, Mankind tag title match on the pay-per-view, I put that on television. And honestly, I think that's much better. I know the Monday Night Wars were all about TV at the time, but I think that the title change has a bigger sense of importance, keeps it on the pay-per-view, and they focus it on the major single stories, and it gives Kane a proper title reign, instead of just treating his WWF Championship win as a plot device to get a rating in the Monday Night Wars. And then, later in the year, something slightly different happened. My friend Tom joined me on the save as playing as Player 2. And rather than running another America promotion, he took over my developmental territory and turned it into WWF UK. The idea is basically an alternate version of the old WWF, the old block logo, the old rings, the bright, family-friendly presentation. It's basically WWF that existed through the 80s and mid-90s, living on its own little British promotion territory as a development for the WWF back in the States. He's using veterans from the world of sport scene along with future stars that will be some of my developmental talent. Johnny Saint is his head booker and one of the veteran stars. I've sent Kevin Kelly over there as lead announcer, and Tom Pritchard is doing things as the coach, road agent, and head of talent relations. So while I'm over here turning the WWF into the Attitude Era, WWF UK is keeping the old WWF alive, at least for the UK scene, and being on some TVs over in the UK being basically what OVW would be in the 2000s. And I love this idea of having keeping the old WWF alive. I mean, they've still got all those old ring aprons and belts and everything else, and the old banners of the old block logo, so why not put them to use? They'd all still be in storage in the UK. Another major goal in the WWF was making the undercard feel much deeper. So I started by bringing people in early. I brought the Hardy Boys in early, a year ahead of schedule. I brought Raven in early, 2 years early in fact, and the Dudley Boys also arrived early. Instead of just having these guys just waiting around for their real life pushes at the end of 1999 and 2000, I'm actually trying to build the WWF's mid-card now. Jeff Hardy had a run with the light heavyweight title, beating Taka Michinoku. The Dudley Boys are already involved in the tag title picture, and Raven has been getting meaningful singles programs with the likes of Triple H, and now settling into the hardcore division now that that is really becoming a thing. I'm trying to build Edge and Christian as something bigger as well, as they're part of the Brood of the Ministry, but I'm starting to get them over as a tag team. And there's one problem with running the Attitude Era product on TEW9, and that's that the product demands an eye candy match on every show. It has to be a match that's aimed at eye candy, so I've got to use Sable. So I have to have a women's match every week. Rather than just accepting the idea of the division as being nothing but gimmicks, attraction, and TNA, I brought in actual wrestlers: Molly Holly, Jacqueline, Ivory, and others. Molly is still just Molly at this point, not Molly Holly, because I've only just made Hardcore Holly a thing around the time that he really was in early 99. I haven't brought Crashing yet, but she'll later be revealed to be Molly Holly. So we're still technically fulfilling demands of the product, having an eye candy match on the show, but I'm trying to turn it into an actual division far earlier than it ever was, a good 2.5 years, if not 3 years, before it became a real division. And then we get probably the biggest what if of my entire save. Shawn Michaels never injures his back at the Royal Rumble, which means theoretically HBK is still an active wrestler in 1998, but I didn't just bring him straight back. Shawn was dealing with his own personal problems at the time, so after WrestleMania I did give him a 6-month vacation, which allowed the likes of Mick Foley and Kane and the Rock to build up and become the stars that they needed to be, which I don't think they would have been if Shawn Michaels would have been in the way. In storyline terms, Shawn Michaels disappeared, and in my version of history, he went away, got clean, got his life together 2 years early, or 3 years early, and came back sober at the end of 1998 instead of 2002. Is that perhaps slightly unrealistic? Yes, but this is an alternate universe and I'll add one miracle. So when Shawn finally comes back in September, he's not going back to wrestle every week, he's going back to co-run DX. And he hopes to walk right back into the DX they left, but the WWF is a very different place from March 1998 to September 1998. And that eventually leads into the DX Civil War storyline that I've been doing for the last 6 months. Shawn comes back, Triple H has spent months becoming the biggest star in his own right, China's caught in the middle, and they co-run DX for a while, for about 5 months, even becoming tag team champions for a while, but eventually things start falling apart. They both are starting to fall out with each other, cost each other matches, they lose the tag titles, and they are telling DX, you've got to pick a side at some point. It all builds to the Royal Rumble, where China turns on DX, and then Triple H makes his decision a month later at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Triple H turns on Shawn and joins China in the corporation, just like he did in real life, except a month earlier, to set up for the WrestleMania match of Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. That's when I started returning Shawn to his old glory, as he ends up becoming a war between the old DX and the new Triple H. And that eventually gives us Shawn Michaels versus Triple H at WrestleMania 15. Again, kind of doing that 2002 SummerSlam story just a little earlier and having the founding or the co-founding of DX be the thing that's the issue between them. But despite all those changes, the top of the card has remained surprisingly close to reality. Austin is still on his collision course with The Rock. Mankind still is in the middle of the WWF title picture, having had his title win at the start of the year. The corporation still forms around Vince McMahon. The Rock has become Vince's chosen champion. But there is one major change I did to this era with the WWF Championship situation. Instead of having the belt bounce back and forth between The Rock and Mankind multiple times, there's only one big change. Mankind wins it on the January 4th episode. Rock takes it back from him in the Royal Rumble, but then Rock keeps the championship. He survives Last Man Standing, retaining against Mankind, and carries it all the way to WrestleMania. Now he's going to be the one man Vince McMahon is trying to keep away from Stone Cold Steve Austin for the entire year, but now it's going to come to a head as it's Austin and Rock in the main event of WrestleMania, as it really happened. And then there's The Undertaker. The Ministry of Darkness is still doing what the Ministry does. The feud with Vince McMahon is still building. The corporation of the Ministry is still on their collision course. The Acolytes have become Undertaker's soldiers. And eventually we get all the sacrifices, Viscera, and there is one change I made to the Ministry. There's no Midian, because Midian sucks. So instead I brought in Ricky Banderas, the future Mil Mortes, as Judas Macias. And honestly, I think that's a hell of a lot better. He's got the look, he's got the presence, he actually feels like somebody that the Undertaker would recruit as a disciple of the Ministry, and not just because he's his friend backstage. And that brings us to WrestleMania 15. The WWF Championship match is Austin vs. Rock, and there's no point in me showing you that match because it's pretty much exactly as it played out in reality. It's how I've booked it. Triple H is facing Shawn Michaels, the Acolytes find the tag titles, Kane is defending the Hardcore Championship, or going for the Hardcore Championship, I should say, and the Ministry Story has reached the most violent point yet because The Undertaker is in Hell in a Cell as he was in reality, except that Big Boss Man debacle can get the hell out of here. Instead, I'm putting him in a much more meaningful match at WrestleMania to defend the streak against both Mankind and The Big Show in a triple threat Hell in a Cell match. So the reason I did this is because Big Show obviously has just come in as Vince McMahon's big corporate enforcer and St. Valentine's Day Massacre. So of course, if Vince wants to defend himself and destroy The Undertaker and stop him from coming after Stephanie, he would put him in Hell in a Cell with The Big Show. And Mankind has also been a thorn in Vince's side, so he throws him in there into Hell in a Cell as a triple threat because of course he put Undertaker and Mankind in Hell in a Cell. He's hoping Undertaker will do what he did last time in the summer of '98 and kill Mick. So he's hoping that Big Show will get in there, Undertaker and Mankind will annihilate each other, and Big Show will come out on top, and we'll see what happens as we get into this match. So I have simulated this match on 2K25. Obviously it didn't play out exactly as I wanted, but I made sure to keep it somewhat realistic, not doing the big over-the-top spots, because I don't want to kind of try to replicate the 1998 Hell in a Cell, but I made sure to keep it realistic by still making it a much better match than what we had with Big Boss Man at the real WrestleMania 15. So I'm going to post up a couple of these matches that I did on the WrestleMania card, see how these videos do, and if people enjoy them, I'll continue to post matches and results from my alternate universe of the Attitude Era. Again, I booked all of 98, I'm now to 99, I got to WrestleMania. If you want to see a continuation of this series, just comment below and let me know what you think of my alternate director's cut, if you will, of the Attitude Era. And enjoy the triple threat match in my alternate version of WrestleMania 15.
Gentlemen, it's time to have a nice day.
The following contest is a triple threat Hell in a Cell match. Making his way to the ring from parts unknown, weighing in at 287 pounds, Mankind.
Mankind responsible for no shortage of historic moments in WWE. And who could forget that fateful night when Mankind was tossed from the top of Hell in the Cell in 1998.
And Mankind hasn't been the same ever since.
But then again, Mankind did introduce the world to Mr. Sacco.
You illustrated my point perfectly.
Mankind seemingly takes pleasure in feeling pain.
Yeah, well, that does not bode well for anyone in the ring with Mankind tonight. Or anyone at ringside, for that matter.
Are you guys ready?
And first, from Charleston, South Carolina, weighing in at 392 pounds, Big Show!
The moment this match was announced, the WWE Universe has expected a classic. I think it is destined to deliver.
A man who elevates his game every week. He is competing at his highest level yet.
Accept the Lord of Darkness as your Savior. Allow purity to guide you.
And
Lord of Darkness has arrived.
I didn't think it'd be possible, but
Somehow the Undertaker has become more sinister and even more evil.
Already such a dominant presence at WrestleMania. Yet to taste defeat at the Showcase of the Immortals.
With the creatures of the night cheering him on, the Undertaker may never lose. We know about the Undertaker's frightening power and his agility, but now he has the forces of evil at his side.
The Hell in a Cell, doesn't matter what your experience is, each superstar has an unknown level of fear inside them.
Yeah, you may be familiar with Hell in a Cell, but I don't think that means you're comfortable. I don't think anyone walking the face of the earth could ever be comfortable inside Hell in a Cell.
Looking vulnerable now, guys.
Face buster!
Big boot. Clubbing blow to the back.
The dead man with an arm wringer into the elevated wrist lock.
Military press! Ooh.
That's gonna hurt.
Big drop of the leg.
Oh no. Look what we have here.
He has no idea what's coming his way. Just tossed their opponent. Was definitely not thinking about finesse with that one. Was only thinking about dominance.
He's taking on some damage at this point.
Yeah, Mankind is attacking like a madman.
Ref, are you blind?
Look, the most intelligent competitor in a battle knows that there are many roads to victory, including the low road.
Elbow throw, saying not today. Military press. Ooh, lands an elbow.
No rules, two opponents and one huge target on your back in a triple threat match. Here's the pin. And he gets the shoulder up before two.
Easy kick out there, but they'll get harder soon.
Slides under the ropes. Back into the ring.
Attack to the midsection.
Placed him in the corner here.
You saw that being telegraphed.
300 pound running DDT. Oh, what a knee lift. Can he do it? And the referee stops the count before two.
A truly impressive kick out this late.
Not a good spot to be in. Shot to the throat.
I think we know exactly where the dead man is headed. I bet he's going to the top rope, Byron.
The old familiar sight. Old school. Big boot. The dead man looking to end this.
There's a tombstone. The Undertaker just ended this.
Shoulders down. He breaks up the pin. Stops the referee's count. Oh, what a clubbing blow. Oh, boom, what impact. Gets lifted into position. Oh, right to the throat. DDT.
He's not going to be able to pull this off, is he?
Oh,
is he?
yeah.
Lift the power bomb. And here we go. The Boston Crab. Nicely done. And slides back into the ring.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Big back body drop. On elevation. Boom. What a shot.
Oh, this is just too far. Get some control in there. Oh, look at this aggression, just pure brutality.
Come on, easy.
What a punch. Sidewalks. Does Mankind have enough strength to kick out? Fights the shoulder up and one.
Shows that this is still anybody's match at this point.
Caught in a bad spot.
Oh my gosh, what impact.
Looking to explore every inch of hell here now.
Boom.
Ah, what an uppercut.
So impactful.
Boom, what a punch. Ooh. Closed fist connects. He answers right back. Oh. Stiff uppercut. Counters.
And I think Mankind might have been busted up there too. Boom.
Knew what was cut. Hard-hitting style of Undertaker being met in kind. And here we go, returning to the ring. Sent out of the ring the hard way.
Mankind in grave danger here.
Mankind off guard.
And Mankind's laid out.
And he goes crashing to the outside. Moving out from the ring closer to those towering walls of the cell. Oh!
Mankind looking to embarrass his opponent.
Ooh. Oh, my God. Oh, he cuts it off.
Caught with a punch. Oh, that'll rattle you.
With an uppercut.
And you can see that offense was aimed directly at his skull. And he now slides back into the ring.
Laying in a big hit with that hammer.
And fiery lariat.
He's in a bad way, but still has something left in the tank.
Hoisted up.
All the way out. Suplex. Oh, what a knee lift. Stopped dead in their tracks with a shot to the face. Coming back from the outside now. Finds the room to land it back.
Oh, Mankind! No, Mr. Sun!
And that'll break things up.
thing on his mind right about now.
And
with a tombstone pile driver.
Taker just turned his lights out.
Undertaker lands hard ringside. The cover. Breaks the close count.
A long 2.5 in the waning moments of this match. Oh, right on the arm. He's heading back to the ring.
Finishes that series of strikes with one last big hit. Oh, what a knee lift. Now propped up in the corner. Mankind cuts him off. Sharp punch.
bionic elbow.
Both putting their full weight on the arm. From the middle rope. Nobody home. What an impact. And the focus of the attack continues to be the head.
It's a very effective target in the long run.
Boom. Clothesline. Big boot. Taking things back into the ring. Undertaker. Elevated wrist lock. Look at the power.
Clothesline.
Not looking in any condition to fight. More like a sitting duck here.
There's a snapmare.
And a basement drop kick.
Lights out. DDT connects.
Just bashing them with that hammer. Into the pin. Mankind is trying to seal this one up. Breaks the cover and this match continues. And look at from the back suplex. Uh-oh. This isn't going to be pretty.
Nice suplex. Two-handed chokeslam.
Producing consecutive attacks. This is frightening strength here.
And he comes in under the ropes now.
And he is directed into the corner.
Military press. Ooh.
A nice shot by the Undertaker.
One of the best strikers in the business. The dead man has him up.
Tombstone pile driver.
What devastation from the Undertaker. Just refusing to give up. Continues fighting. Big boot on the mark.
He wants to end this for the win.
He got it. A career-changing win inside Hell in a Cell.
Here is your winner, The Undertaker.
Standing tall above the two other hungry competitors who were in this match.
Yeah, it may sound cliche, but you have to keep your head on a swivel in a match like this. And our winner did just that.